who would you rather face? Wales, Scotland, Ukraine? Do you have a preference out of those three from a competitive standpoint that you think we have a better advantage on?
I'm gonna go Wales. Let's go Wales.
Okay.
I know they have some top players, and Gareth Bale is kind of leading the charge for Wales, but ultimately I like us against Wales. I mean, it's kind of, they're all on level, I think, a level playing field.
They have one guy though, Gareth Bale though, that can change a game by himself.
Absolutely, but Ukraine is probably the team that you don't want to face if they are to kind of progress, just because of everything that they're playing for.
Right.
And how the world's going to kind of be around them and supporting them. That's probably the team that's going to be playing with a whole nother level of passion, right, and commitment. So ultimately, I think Wales would probably be a great matchup.
Okay, now, Heath, it's your turn. We did a poll question on In Soccer We Trust on Twitter. Hit us up at ISWT Pod. Let us know your thoughts. But Scotland was the favorite that everybody wanted to face in this. How are you feeling about the group overall? And then who would you prefer to play?
Wow. I mean, I still feel good about the group, and I still feel good. I know that the odds came out of like a 30+% chance for the U.S. to make it out of the group stages to the round of 16. None of that really means much to me, because I when you're on the inside of what this group is capable of, I still feel really good about the ability to get out of this group. Now, with regard to who I like more in this matchup, it'd probably be Wales or Scotland. Again, I think Charlie had a good point around Ukraine, the rallying cry around that team, that national team. We saw that with Denmark at the Euros, obviously different circumstances, but with the Christian Eriksen thing, there was this momentum that they became the world's team for that tournament, right? Of just wanting to see, regardless, that team do well. I think the same stands for Ukraine if they were to get through, just in terms of the momentum that they'll have of sort of playing with house money. I think is something that you don't necessarily want to come up against. So I like the idea of Wales or Scotland. Now, if I had to pick one of the two, I would probably say Scotland. I like, again, it's going to be a scrap. It'll be a fight, and similarly to Wales, minus what I think would be, any sort of Gareth Bale-esque threats in the team. So I think I'd like to face Scotland if anything.
Okay, I like that shout. I think Scotland would be plucky, but I also feel like when I look at Scotland and Wales, they still look down upon us. Like, they feel like they're better than we are, and I feel like we could use that to our advantage. Ukraine, assuming that game still goes on against Scotland to even get into that final against Wales in the Intercontinental Playoff or Euro Playoff, I do worry about that rallying cry, but I don't know if that game's going to even happen. So I don't know. Steve Clark's men are pretty good, Scotland, but Wales have that one X factor in Gareth Bale. If he shows up, dude can win a game by himself, Chuck.
Absolutely. And the reason why I didn't even include Scotland is because I don't think they're gonna come out. So realistically, I think it's gonna be between Ukraine and Wales.
Interesting. Look at Chuck coming in with the analysis. Okay, now,
by the way, Scotland are on a run right now too, though. Like, they were sort of written off. I think they won 5 or 6 in a row to wrap up their games, and so they're certainly a team that has a belief that maybe they didn't, and has that momentum, similar to what we talked about, Jimmy, when you talked about Mexico finishing off qualifying strong, where even though they were in a place from the media standpoint, the actual results were quite different, and that's a tough thing to bet against as well.